Some cats don't want to rehearse 4 days a week without a gig coming up. But for me, I'm willing to do that because I see the long-term goal. So I said, what could you do differently to change the outcome of this entire scenario, i.e. my career, once this pandemic is over?
So what brought you to start playing shows on the subway?
Well, the beginning of that part of my journey started with the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, I was playing all the major venues around the city and some outside the state. The pandemic comes, shuts everything down. I couldn't link with my band, and I was feeling frustrated. I felt like there's more that I needed to do to elevate my career, and I felt like the one thing that I wasn't doing was playing an instrument. So I started to teach myself during the pandemic how to play guitar, and I said, well, I can become really, really good in my room, or I could be okay in public and become really, really good by doing it in front of people. So I started performing, honestly, on the most convenient line to my house because I have so much equipment to carry. But I started performing in front of people, and that for me was the greatest way to gauge what I was rehearsing. It was the greatest way to gauge how I was interacting with people through my extension, my guitar, because vocally I knew that I could capture people's attention, but I wanted to create that same essence and intimacy through the instrument. So that's where I began. I figured it's thousands of people on any given day that I may have never seen or who may have never heard of me that'll get the chance to witness what I do and hopefully carry it on and create more opportunities.
Thousands. That is crazy, because I'm just thinking as an audience member, the times that I've been at a music festival or I've been somewhere like Red Rocks for a single performance with thousands of people surrounding me. But that's one way to get to performing in front of thousands of people per day. You never really think about as someone who's listening to someone busking on the streets, and that's my moment. As selfishly, I'm walking past you and I'm thinking this is 10, 15 minutes of just soul warming music, and I don't think about the hundreds, thousands of people that are going to pass me after that point. But to you, you're playing, going on numbers, you're playing like a Red Rocks type capacity every day. I'm sure if you're doing, 8 to 10 hours, I don't know how long you stay out there, but if it's thousands, like that's Terminal 5, filling Terminal 5 every day that hears your music.
That's right. And
that's wild.
Let me add one more thing to that. So when I get to the Terminal 5 in the Red Rock, it will already be an audience that has fallen in love with what I do, and they made a conscious choice to come out, right? When I'm on the subway or street, people don't even know that they're about to experience this. And when they choose to stay, it continues to defy the limitations that one may put on an artist, saying, who's your demographic? You have to target them directly. When in fact, I'm going out doing what I love, and I'm sharing it, and people are showing me that my demographic is everybody who loves music. So by doing that, I've expanded my target audience. And I've gotten fans from every corner of the globe whom I may not have been able to reach through the best publicists in the industry because I may not have been on their radar. But when somebody's walking by and their heart and mind is open to whatever I'm delivering, they become a fan for life. Yeah. So for me, it's literally, we did Joe's Pub at the top of the year, and it was standing room only, packed to capacity. Because of the busking over the prior year. Now it's 20, 30,000 more people who are on what I'm doing. So I'm looking forward to Terminal 5 and Madison Square Garden and Barclays Center is definitely en route.
If I didn't see you play the guitar in person and you told me that you taught yourself how to play over the pandemic, I would say bullshit. Like there's no, but I've seen you play it. So like if I saw a video and then someone else told me, yeah, that guy learned how to play 2 years ago, I'd be like, there's no fucking way. Like people, that sounds like and I know 3 chords on the guitar, so I can't speak from personal experience. A, C, D, just basic, like Mary Had a Little Lamb. Right. But I've seen many people who have played the guitar to your level, and it seems like they've acquired 6 to 8 to 10 years of experience to get to the level where they're making the strings sing like you. So how did you get to that point? Like how did you acquire that much downloadable talent in 2 years? Because you literally have to download it. Like your fingers are just like, all right, I know how to do this now. And like it's just, there's no way around the time. So like, how did you do that?
Well, there's 2 answers to that question. And the first one is, consider that I practice every day for 2.5 years. That's the equivalent of going to a conservatory or a school for music, except maybe I'd go to class 3 days a week. I did it 7 days a week for 2.5 years for 4 to 5 hours. So I conditioned myself, and I made a plan to come out of that hibernation, should I say, better than I went into it. And what helped me is that I could sing. So when I heard a phrase that I couldn't articulate on a guitar, I would sing it, record it, and practice it on guitar until I found it. So that's what you hear when you say I'm making the guitar sing. I'm just emulating my voice on the guitar. So I would record a phrase like da 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 da, and I would be I could just say da 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 da, but that's not the same flavor.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put the same bend, make it emulate my voice. So I did that for 2.5 years. So halfway through, though, I decided to take it outside of my room. So by this time, it was about 1.5 years, I decided to take it out and started doing it in front of people. And people's reaction showed me when I was doing too much, or when I could do more, when I could stay on this particular phrase or extend the note. So it was partially me sitting in my room and isolating myself. And then it was trusting the reaction I read from people like you.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point, making it emulate your voice. Because for me, for example, if I learn how to play the guitar, actually learn how to play the guitar from scratch, I have no singing voice of quality to make that sound like there's only other guitar strings and guitar chords and the way that other people have done it before me that I've listened to get me to that level. But you obviously have recordings of yourself singing. You have recordings of yourself doing both, singing and playing the guitar. So you, in a way, were trying to emulate the effect that people get from your voice, but bring that to the strings.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's it makes sense that would expedite the learning process. Like having that already internally within you, that sense of musicality to base the guitar against, to have your voice and to play something, be like, like I could stop there and this would be serviceable. Like no one would say this was bad, but then to take it to that next level where people go, like they wait for 3 stops on the subway and they're like, I think I have to stay and listen to this guitar, and then you start singing. Yeah, that's crazy.
There's another part to that answer too. The other part was it was out of sheer necessity. I had grown frustrated with feeling like some of the musicians I was building with didn't quite have the long-term vision, and some people just had other goals in mind. Like some cats don't want to rehearse 4 days a week without a gig coming up. But for me, I'm willing to do that because I see the long-term goal. So I said, what could you do differently to change the outcome of this entire scenario, i.e. my career, once this pandemic is over? Play the heck out of this instrument. Become so good at it that you can be self-sufficient. And that's exactly what happened. It got to a point where I was then doing, large venues and massive shows with just my guitar and my pedals, because I cultivated that. And it was out of necessity that was born. I didn't really have another option. I was either going to be frustrated continuously or change the dynamic by adding something that was relatively familiar in theory. I just had to apply it.